They say that blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood is just a stain that you can't wash away, and sometimes water, the people who choose to love you when they don't have to, is the only thing that saves you from drowning. I learned this lesson in the silence of a hospital waiting room, holding a plastic cup of lukewarm coffee, staring at a door that hid the darkest secret of my marriage. My name is Elena. For 5 years, I believed I was the luckiest woman alive. I had a devoted husband, a beautiful home, and a son I adored more than breath itself. I thought my husband was a hero for suggesting we adopt when I couldn't conceive. I thought he was a saint for loving a child that wasn't his. I was wrong. He wasn't loving a stranger. He was loving his own reflection, and I wasn't his wife. I was the nanny he tricked into raising the evidence of his betrayal. This is the story of how a simple playground accident unraveled a web of lies so complex it destroyed my family. And this is how I turned my husband's greatest deception into my greatest victory. Part 1. The Broken Dream. To understand the betrayal, you have to understand the desperation. For 3 years, Marcus and I tried to have a baby. If you have never experienced infertility, you cannot understand the hollow ache in your chest when you see a stranger pushing a stroller. You cannot understand the monthly cycle of hope and devastating grief. We spent thousands on IVF, countless needles, endless doctors, and every time the test came back negative, I felt like I was failing him. Marcus was perfect during this time. He held me when I cried. He told me he loved me, not my womb. "Elena," he said one night, wiping my tears, "we don't need biology to be parents. Let's stop the treatments. They are hurting you. Let's adopt." I looked at him, surprised. "Are you sure? You always wanted your own son. Someone to carry the Vance name." "I just want to be a father," he said, kissing my forehead. "And I want you to be a mother. That's all that matters." 2 weeks later, he came home with news. He had a connection. A private lawyer friend knew a young woman. She was in trouble. She couldn't keep her baby. The father was out of the picture. "It's a baby boy, Elena," Marcus said, his eyes shining. "He needs a home now. We can skip the agency waiting lists. It's meant to be." It felt like a miracle, a gift from God. We signed the papers in a rush. The mother wasn't there. Marcus said she was too emotional to meet us. I didn't question it. I was too busy painting the nursery blue. When they placed Leo in my arms, he was tiny, fragile, and perfect. He had dark curls and startlingly bright green eyes. I fell in love instantly. The pain of infertility vanished. I was a mom. Part 2. The Illusion. The next 4 years were the happiest of my life. Leo was an amazing child, smart, funny, affectionate, and he worshipped Marcus. And Marcus? He was obsessed with the boy. He wasn't just a father, he was a guardian. He was fiercely protective. Sometimes it felt odd. Marcus would stare at Leo with an intensity that gave me goosebumps. And then there were the comments from strangers. At the grocery store, "Oh, he looks just like his daddy." At the park, "Those green eyes. He's a carbon copy of your husband." I would laugh and correct them. "Oh, he's adopted, actually. But thank you, that's sweet." Marcus would always get tense. He would usher us away quickly. "People see what they want to see," he would mutter. I brushed it off. I thought he was just sensitive about the adoption. I thought he didn't want Leo to feel different. I was so naive. Part 3. The Accident. The truth didn't come out in a confession. It came out in an emergency room. It was a Tuesday. Marcus was away in Chicago for a business conference. I later learned he was just partying with friends. I took Leo to the park. He was climbing the jungle gym. He slipped. It happened in slow motion. The thud, the scream, the blood gushing from his forehead. I panicked. I wrapped his head in my jacket and drove like a maniac to the hospital. He had a severe concussion and needed stitches, but he had lost a lot of blood. The ER doctor, Dr. Aris, looked concerned. He's pale and his pressure is dropping, Dr. Aris said. We need to do a transfusion just to be safe. We need to type his blood and check for antibodies. I sat in the waiting room, shaking, praying. An hour later, Dr. Aris came out. He wasn't holding a chart. He was holding a tablet and he looked confused. Mrs. Vance, he said, is your husband in town? No, he's in Chicago. Why? Is Leo okay? Leo is stable, the doctor said. But we ran a standard genetic panel to match the blood perfectly because Leo has a rare antigen. He paused, looking at me carefully. Mrs. Vance, you listed on the intake form that Leo is adopted. Yes, I said. It was a closed adoption. The doctor sighed. He turned the tablet around. Well, the lab system flagged a match in our database. We have your husband, Marcus Vance, on file from his appendectomy last year. Okay? I asked, not understanding. Mrs. Vance, the doctor said gently, the system flagged a familial match, a direct lineage match. I blinked. What does that mean? It means, the doctor said, that genetically, Marcus Vance is not this boy's adoptive father. He is his biological father. The probability is 99.99%. I laughed. I actually laughed. That's impossible. We adopted him together, from a stranger. Science doesn't lie, Elena, the doctor said softly. I've checked it twice. Your husband is this boy's father. Part 4. The investigation. I don't remember driving home. I remember feeling like the world had tilted on its axis. My husband was the father, which meant the young woman in trouble wasn't a stranger. She was his mistress. He hadn't found a baby for us. He had found a babysitter for his sin. I walked into our house. It felt cold. I went straight to Marcus's home office. I knew he kept a locked safe in the closet. I didn't have the code. But I had a crowbar from the garage. I smashed the lock. It took me 10 minutes of screaming, sweating, and hitting the metal until it popped open. I dumped the files onto the floor. Passports, deeds, and a thick manila envelope labeled LV, medical. I opened it, and there it was, the smoking gun, the original birth certificate. Child, Leo Miller. Mother, Sarah Miller. Father, Marcus Vance. And underneath it, a death certificate for Sarah Miller, dated 3 days after Leo's birth. Cause of death, preeclampsia, and then the emails, printed out. I read them, tears blurring my vision. From Sarah, I'm keeping it, Marcus. You have to tell your wife. From Marcus, don't be stupid. Elena can't know. I'll pay for everything. Just keep quiet. From Marcus, after her death. She's gone. I have the baby. I can't let him go to foster care. I have a plan. Elena is desperate for a child. I'll make her think it's an adoption. She'll raise him, and she'll never suspect a thing. She'll never suspect a thing. I collapsed on the floor, surrounded by the papers. He didn't adopt Leo to heal my heart. He adopted Leo to hide his affair. He manipulated my grief, my infertility, and my love to solve his problem. He looked me in the eye every day for 4 years, watching me raise his mistress's child, and he said, nothing. Part 5. The Trap. Marcus returned from Chicago 2 days later. He walked in the door, smiling, holding a teddy bear. "Daddy's home," he shouted. "Where's my big boy?" I was sitting in the living room chair facing the door. The house was silent. Leo was at my sister's house. "Leo isn't here," I said. My voice sounded dead. Marcus stopped. He saw the expression on my face. "Elena? What's wrong? Why are you sitting in the dark?" I turned on the lamp next to me. On the coffee table I had laid out the DNA test results and the original birth certificate I stole from his safe. Marcus looked at the table. The color drained from his face instantly. He dropped his bag. "Elena. Wait. I can explain." "Explain?" I stood up. "Explain which part, Marcus? The part where you cheated on me? Or the part where you watched me cry over negative pregnancy tests while you were getting another woman pregnant?" "It wasn't like that," he stammered, backing away. "It was a mistake. Sarah. It just happened. But when she died, I couldn't abandon my son. He's my blood." "So you made me his mother by lying to me," I screamed. "You tricked me. You made me love a lie. I did it for you," he shouted back, his face twisting. "You wanted a baby. I gave you one. We were happy, Elena. Look at the last 4 years. We were a family. Does it matter where he came from?" "It matters," I said, walking closer to him, "because a family built on fraud isn't a family. It's a crime scene. You can't do anything," Marcus sneered, suddenly changing his tone. "He's my biological son. You're just the adoptive mother. If you divorce me, I'll take him. I have the blood right." I smiled. It was a cold, dangerous smile. "I thought you might say that, so I spoke to my lawyer this morning." I picked up a document. "You see, Marcus, when you signed the adoption papers, you swore under oath that you had no relation to the child. You falsified state documents. That's called adoption fraud and a perjury. And because you forged the process, the court sees you as unfit." I pointed to the window. "And one more thing." Blue and red lights flashed through the curtains. "I handed over the forged documents to the district attorney an hour ago." Part 6. Justice. Marcus was arrested in our living room. He was screaming as they handcuffed him, screaming that I was stealing his son, screaming that I was a monster. I watched him go. I didn't feel sad. I felt light. The legal battle was messy, but the evidence was overwhelming. The judge was furious. He called Marcus's actions a despicable manipulation of the adoption system. Because Marcus had committed fraud to gain parental rights, those rights were stripped. I, however, was the legal adoptive mother. I was the one who had raised him. I was the one who had signed the papers in good faith. The judge granted me sole legal and physical custody, so. Marcus was sentenced to 24 months in prison for fraud and forgery. Epilogue. Leo is 6 now. He knows that his daddy did something bad and had to go away for a long time. We visit my mother's grave, and sometimes I take him to visit Sarah's grave too. I told him she was a special friend who helped bring him to me. I realized that Leo isn't a symbol of Marcus's betrayal. He is a symbol of my survival. I saved him. Marcus wanted to hide him, to use him as a prop. I loved him. And in the end, that's what being a mother is. It's not about whose DNA you share, it's about who you refuse to give up on. I look at his green eyes now, and I don't see Marcus. I see Leo, and he is mine. The moral of the story. A lie is like a debt. You might enjoy the money now, but eventually you have to pay it back with interest. Manipulating someone's trauma to save yourself is the ultimate act of cowardice. And to all the women out there, trust your intuition. If the pieces of the puzzle don't fit, don't force them. Break the lock, find the truth, and never let anyone tell you that biology is more important than love. The truth might hurt you, but a lie will kill you.